Find your own way. Don't follow me, don't believe me. You can immediately incorporate it into your everyday. It's a Buddhist technique called take note 3 times. Anger, anger. That's all. Not you're angry, just the exercise is noticing what am I feeling, acknowledging it, yes, that's what it is, and naming it. Yeah, that's anger. Anger, anger, anger.
Thank you so much.
The situation becomes compounded by our judgment. With this method, we're just adding awareness rather than a judgment, condemnation. We're saying, oh, that's there. So by the 3rd time, in patience, you can have the clarity to see, yes, that was moving through me just now. We were just singing and dancing, because this is what Osho had said, learn to celebrate everything life gives you. Death has its own beauty. Yes, life has its beauty, but death also. Not only that, but death is the culmination of life. So celebrate. Interest in this subject. Wow, this is amazing. And then later I did a degree in psychotherapy, and I just became more and more curious about death, because it's a subject that fills most people with fear. One day I asked Osho a question, telling him about, I didn't tell him all about my resistance, but that I'd read a book of yours, and it just came to me out of the blue, this man knows the truth, that you know the truth when I'm not enlightened. And he started off, Maneesha, who told you you're not enlightened? And therefore make your body leaving painful and probably unconscious because you can't bear the reality, is your attachments. For me it's about trust in existence. And I don't have to say, does existence exist? Existence is. So I don't really know how to answer that except ask herself, what proof have you got for that? It is just a belief. What are your questions for me around being with Osho? I'm sure you've got some.
He was with Osho all the time, I mean, quite a long time. So that was one of you. So being with Osho, and how you felt that what suit another community of Osho sannyasins should do, and what even individuals should do. So what is your sharing out of being with understanding the Osho's movement?
I'm not sure what you mean by what they should do.
I mean, what is the message of him for the communes entire the world, or small centers?
Find your own way. Yes. As he says, it is my joy to share, to talk. I love talking, and you all know he does. It's my joy to share. Don't follow me, don't believe me. Doubt. Actually doubt. So, enormous freedom to be ourselves, to tune into ourselves. And of course that's part of his device, isn't it, of saying so many seemingly contradictory things. So we don't create a doctrine of this is the final word, Osho has said this about that, about marriage or having children or whatever. No, I feel it's like a prism of a diamond, multifaceted prism, his vision, giving us all different aspects. And then it's for us, our intelligence, our particular make-up and way of looking at things, to find what resonates with me and to find our own path. That we create our path, you and me, all of us individually, It's not ready-made, but by walking it. It doesn't exist yet. Only as we take each step are we creating our path. I mean, how amazing is that? A really living path you and I are on. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Not really, no?
That was. Thank you so much.
Maneesha, we are seeing you for the first time. We never got a chance to meet Osho, so you are a part of Osho for us. I have been associated with Osho since a couple of years, but I'm not growing as I wish to grow. Do you have any suggestions, like guideline or guidance, or any idea that my hair are grey now and not many days are left, so I just wanted to run on this. So any?
How do you wish to grow?
I wish to grow with less anger, less greed, less to grow compassion, to grow kindness, to go to the path of enlightenment. It looks funny, but this is what.
No, not funny.
Like today is the 21st, so I think, oh, okay, from today I'll do it more. After 5 days, and I'm back to the same gear, and then I think, okay, from 1st January, let me start, and then again happens same thing, and from 11th December I will start. So again waiting for 19th January.
Doesn't work, does it?
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work, no.
So we wanted to grow in a right path, living greed.
What I'm suggesting is that, as Osho says, there's nothing bad about hate or anger. They come up in us. We're human. We're feeling. Just add the ingredient of awareness. Yeah? Then your anger, when you add awareness, you stop throwing it on other people. For example, you see, it's my anger. Someone else might trigger it, but it's my anger. If I were Buddha, and I had, I transcended, then however rude you were to me, I would not react, because it's no longer in me. So if we are still getting upset by other people, it's because we have that potential still in us, and they are only triggering it. So we need to accept we have all these. We have jealousy, mean moments, despairing moments, disappointed in ourselves, self-hate, lack of trust. All those feelings are there. But they're all part of who we are. And so I would say to you, when you want to know about the right ways, start with acceptance. This is so. Yes? And here's a technique also, which I find terrific, because it's really small and you can immediately incorporate it into your everyday. It's a Buddhist technique called take note 3 times. So say you're in a supermarket queue and you don't have a lot of time, maybe you've got the car parked and it's got limited time, and then someone in the very front of the queue with the checkout person is making a fuss or forgotten something just to go back and get it. You're looking at your watch and you're really getting impatient. Now, instead of getting all roiled up inside with impatience, you notice I'm feeling something. Now, if you observe, all feelings have an emotional component. Have you noticed that? When you're angry, well, let me talk about myself. If I'm angry, I'm irritated, I feel a tightness, a contraction in my belly. If I'm feeling loving, joyful, I feel really expanded in the heart area. So this is a really important clue. Notice when an emotion comes up, what's that? I've got a feeling. Where's it registering? That's my impatience. Let's say in this example. So you notice it. So inwardly, you say, in your mother tongue? Impatience. Now immediately, because you've acknowledged it, you're not saying I love it, you just acknowledge it. This is what's here in the moment, impatience. Now you've named it, so it's already moving up out of the unconscious, because you've acknowledged, yes, you're there, and you are impatience. So it's come up a bit. You say it a second time, impatience. It's that much more conscious coming into the light. A third time, impatience. And now you have a greater chance of objectifying it, meaning you may now have the distance, the clarity to realize, yes, I did have that feeling inside me a moment ago, but it's not me. Yes? Because I think part of the let's say called the challenging emotions is that we feel something like jealousy, anger, impatience, and then we judge ourselves. I shouldn't be feeling like that, which only makes it more complex. The situation becomes compounded by our judgment. With this method, we're just adding awareness rather than a judgment, condemnation. We're saying, oh, that's there. So by the third time, impatience, you can have the clarity to see, yes, that was moving through me just now, but it is not me. It wasn't there half an hour ago. And then you can just, see that it's not me and let it go. And I personally, when I use this technique, and I do use it, because I'm what's called a hot reactor, I do tend to get impatient, because I'm quite speedy. Then I just feel, when I've said it 3 times, I feel it's going into a river and just going with the ocean. So it's also important to be able to let it go. Yes? So that's something else about emotions, that we tend to hold on to them. Hold on to the ones when we've been hurt, when we feel someone's misunderstood us, they've hurt us. We tend to hang on and brood over it. That's what the mind does. Yes? And of course the positive ones, love and joy, we want to hold on to. So whether they're negative or positive, we tend to hold on to feelings. And the very word in English, feelings or emotion, means by the very nature, feelings move. So we need to learn the art of still feeling. We're not saying let's not become ice blocks, not able to feel. Feel them, the anger, the this, the that, with awareness, the joy, the love. When it passes, let it go. There's a lovely poem by Rumi, you might know, called The Guest House. Anyone know it? Yes, it's a famous one, isn't it? And he talks about how all of the feelings that we have are visitors or guests. We are a guest house. So happiness comes to the door. We say, oh, hi, happiness, come in. Take a pew. Don't go. Don't just be a guest. Move in with me. Happiness stays a while. Then it goes. Then another knock at the door. We go, oh, sadness. No, I don't want you. No, sadness. Yeah, but I'm coming in. So sadness comes. And then in time it will go. Unless we hold on to it. We trade, no, you're not just a guest, I'm going to hold on to you. It gives me something to feel sad or hurt. I'm going to hold on to you. But if we can let them go. And Rumi says, even if the feelings, what's a lovely expression, something like, even if they sweep you out, they might be clearing you out for some new delight. Or somewhere else, a message from beyond. So, to use, acknowledge, honor everything in us. It's all energy. All our feelings are just different expressions of the one energy.
Now, there's somebody's parked his car just in front of my car and I need to wait because I could not find the driver of that car. So naturally meditating here, but as soon as I am there, I am angry, I am back. So I said, I need to say myself that, okay, you are angry, angry.
You don't know. Anger, anger. That's all. Not you're angry, just the exercise is noticing what am I feeling, acknowledging it, yes, that's what it is, and naming it. Yeah, that's anger. Yeah. Anger, anger, anger.
Thank you so much. It's a wonderful thing.
So this will be a terrific guide for you on the path. Acceptance of whatever life brings, because that's the start of transformation. We can't get there on the path if we don't acknowledge we're here. Yeah. This is the starting point, wherever we are. So accept this is where we are, then movement can happen.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Loving Ma?
Where are you?
Yeah. Saying that from age 63 to 70, we have to prepare for our death. I'm already 68. Now there's 3 more years to go back to my original home. Could you speak on preparedness for death?
Because, well, several things. The first time in our, what was then the ashram, in 1975, I think it was it? Vipassana's death, a young woman, I mean we were all...
Vipassana.
Yes. We were all around, I was 27, she was about the same age. We, at that time in 74, we were between the Westerners, between 25 and 40 perhaps, so pretty young community. And Vipassana was a very extrovert Dutch sannyasin, long hair, very wild, played guitar, lovely, lovely woman. And her brother, the yogi, was the complete opposite. Very good looking, he looked like a gypsy or a pirate, long black hair. All the girls were mad for him. But they were so different. And she was in a Vipassana group and she suddenly collapsed. And she was kept alive for a week on life support in the local hospital. Then it was decided, of course talking to her brother, the yogi, that the life support should stop. And just on the way to the main story I wanted to tell you, this is such a strong story to hear. The yogi was holding her hand and the machine with the ECG was there and it was switched off. I'm going to get emotional. And he said he felt a great rush of energy up his arm, and as I said, he was a very unemotional person, but he was filled with this very wild, exuberant energy of his sister. And he was suddenly laughing and crying and ecstatic. That was such an incredible story to hear. You know, one aspect of dying, that this release of energy of someone who's clearly been very joyful. So I feel Vipassana left in a very joyful space. So much so that even her rather serious brother got filled with her ecstasy. So that was the first communal body leaving that we celebrated. And Osho called us together into the discourse place that what's now the Chandra. And he talked to us, there's several hundred people. And something? He said, I want you to learn to celebrate living and to celebrate dying. If I only teach you how to celebrate living, then that's only half the story. And when I leave my body, I want you to celebrate. And so it was sort of an experiential lesson in how to be with dying. A very strong, really a pivotal moment, probably in our individual lives, but also our collective lives, the sannyasins with Osho. So he talked about when you go to the burning ghats, go singing and dancing, and give her a beautiful send-off. So we did that. We took her body down. We had musicians playing the drums and the violins and the guitars, and we were all dancing, taking her body down to the burning ghats. And of course for the Indian sannyasins this was not so unusual, it wasn't unusual at all. But for us Westerners, it was amazing. And down at the burning ghats, there was, this woman who was the age of many of us. She wasn't some ancient old bird like me, 77. She's young, 27, and we were just singing and dancing because this is what Osho had said: learn to celebrate everything life gives you. Death has its own beauty. Yes, life has its beauty, but death also. Not only that, but death is the culmination of life, so celebrate. So we are learning, as we're burning, a young woman to celebrate. And it was amazing. In those days we wore bright orange, not maroon. And we all had long hair, even the men. Everybody had long hair. And just dancing, and the orange flames were burning high, and we were all just dancing. And I remember thinking, I feel like a pagan. And also, how right this is. It just felt, this is right, this is the way. When before I became a sannyasin, I trained as a nurse, a general nurse, and then later a midwife and a psychiatric nurse. But of course in the general nursing, I'd been with people who just died and had helped what we call lay out the body, prepare the body. So I was very familiar with the Western medical view of dying as a professional calamity. This is disaster, we've lost somebody. People, at all costs we must keep people alive, disregarding the quality of life they might have. No, living at all costs. And Osho has a totally different view. So just to say, I come with the Western view of dying. Death is a tragedy to be mourned. To here I was dancing, and how right it felt. It was just so beautiful. So that was the start. Who asked me about death? You did, yes. That was the start of my interest in this subject. Wow, this is amazing. And then later I did a degree in psychotherapy, and I just became more and more curious about death because it's a subject that fills most people with fear. And I began to get, understanding Osho's vision, it's not necessary. It's a misunderstanding. We've bought into society's superstitions and beliefs that death is wrong, death should not be, death is scary, avoid it at all costs. Live as though you're never going to die. Don't talk about death at the dinner table. And I just thought, this is not needed. So I decided then to change my work with meditation to let's look at the fact you and I, everyone in this room, is going to be leaving our bodies. We don't know who's next. Just because you've got white hair, it doesn't mean you're next. And that's the point. We don't know where we are in the queue. So if we get, yeah, that makes sense. This is something I have fears about and questions. Maybe it makes sense to start looking now at what can I do to get ready so that when my time comes, and that might be 20 years away, it might be 2 hours from now. When my time comes, I'm not going to be freaked out. I'll be ready, I'll be able to say, if this is what's happening, I will go with it, with all the grace and gratitude I can. So in essence, that's what my work's about, and those 2 workshops will be around looking at this question: how can I get ready for leaving the body? And the strange thing is, everyone who does my workshops, I've been doing them for about 20 years now, on death, says at the end, someone in the course says, oh, I thought this was going to be about dying, but it's just as much about living. Because they get that to die beautifully, we have to live beautifully. We can't just suddenly live a very unconscious life, a selfish life, an unkind life, and then suddenly on our deathbed we become all saintly and pure and full of love. We have to start now, because living, dying is one process. I mean, consider it. It's not that you're going on living. On Tuesday you're living, on Wednesday you're suddenly dying. It's not like that, unless you've had an accident. For most of us, it's happening all the time. Actually, as Osho says, from the day we're born, we take an in-breath, we started living. Well, living as far as, outside the womb, living as we know it. The next movement is the out-breath. In other words, dying. So, in-breath, living, out-breath, dying. From our very birth. So when we get that, we realize as soon as I can, I need to look at how can I come to terms with death? How can I embrace the reality of my dying? So, as I say, that we're at peace when our time comes, but so we can also live to the max. Don't hold back, just go for it. As Osho is always saying, live with totality. Give every moment, everything you've got, as though it's your last moment. Because maybe it is.
Today being such an auspicious day for us, for all the sannyasins, as we are celebrating Enlightenment Day today itself, what does it mean by enlightenment?
What does it?
Enlightenment. As we are celebrating today, 21st of March.
What's your feeling?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking one.
I don't know. I'm enlightened already. Now here's a funny story. When I was, years before I was a sannyasin, someone lent me one of Osho's books. And I, at the time, was very resistant. People were swanning around London in orange clothes and malas, and I thought, oh God, a cult, I don't want to be part of a cult. And I don't need a father figure. I saw the Osho's pictures and gurus about having a father figure. I've got a perfectly beautiful father back in Australia. So I was not interested in the movement. But one of those strange orange people had an Osho book, and so I finally managed to borrow the book from him. And reading it, as I say, I was a little bit resistant. But I started reading, I thought, wow, I love the way he expresses himself. It's so simple, not simplistic, but simple and poetic. And he has a sense of humour, which for me is really a criterion of intelligence, to have humour. And I just loved his expression. And then out of the blue, I wasn't asking myself this question, came the voice or whatever, this man knows the truth. So if you fast forward many years, and I suddenly all my resistance had gone, and I became a sannyasin in 1974. And one day I asked Osho a question, telling him about, I didn't tell him all about my resistance, but that I'd read a book of yours, and it just came to me out of the blue, this man knows the truth. So my question was, how could I recognize that you know the truth, when I'm not enlightened? And he started off, Maneesha, who told you you're not enlightened? So he talked about what we've been talking about. We're all enlightened, we're just not choosing to own it. And then at the end of that particular discourse he said, and Maneesha, promise me you'll never say you're not enlightened again. So that put me in a difficulty when people years later would say, are you enlightened? I'd have to tell them that whole story. Does that kind of answer your question? Not really.
I'm not afraid of my own death, but I am very attached to my parents and my loved ones. And the thought of losing their physical presence makes me really very scared. And how do I come to a balance about it?
How do I come to a balance?
Yeah.
Come to one of my workshops. Because though you say I'm not frightened of dying, you are frightened of losing your attachments. All of us have fear around dying. You know, some people say to me, I'm not frightened of dying, you know, and I don't need to do a workshop. Everybody is. And in fact, in Osho's understanding, all our fears, public speaking, that's one of the strongest fears, is at bottom the fear of death. So it's a given. We may not want to face that or disguise it, but that fear is there. So this is one of the reasons to look at the issue, is that what could get in the way of me being able to leave the body gracefully, which is what we're talking about, and consciously. So for you, clearly, unless you address it, one issue that's going to cause you great anguish and therefore make your body leaving painful and probably unconscious because you can't bear the reality, is your attachments. So in the workshops, that's something we look at. What are my attachments? And how can I let go of them? Now there's possibly time for you to ask us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your being. Well, this is not my question. I was already dancing for many, many days. So my sister is really excited to see you, but she could not be here. So on her behalf, there's a question. I realize that I'm the believer of God. Now I want to find if God really exists. How can I separate my belief to see the truth of God?
Let me get back to her. Well, you know what Osho says. God is a hypothesis. It's a belief. It's a belief. That's all I can say, that we know that. I know that it's, for me, Christianity has given me that idea. But it's not my reality. For me, it's about trust in existence. And I don't have to say, does existence exist? Existence is. So I don't really know how to answer that except ask herself, what proof have you got for that? It is just a belief. And if you're happy to live with beliefs, they're just, as far as I'm concerned, psychological props. And when we're leaving our body, because they're just psychological, they're not going to be a help in the end. That's my own feeling. Today, this joyous, juicy, Osho-filled day, let's celebrate again.